Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good weekend, a nice weekend as well. I had an interesting weekend, that is for sure. Welcome to episode. Why does it say episode 20? That's definitely wrong. Oh dear, that needs to be fixed. Good. Well, that's not gone well. It's not episode 20 of the Snowflake Viewpoint. I don't know why it says that. I'm going to need to fix that right now. But just as I fix that, guys, so you're going to have to bear me 1 second because I can't leave that on. I will forget. The date and time of this live stream where we cover the latest news and views in UK politics is the 25th of November 2024 at 8 p.m. UK time. We are dual streaming live on youtube.com /Reganelite. And on twitch.tv /ReganElite1. Oh, I put 20 instead of 80. How did that happen? All right, let me fix that. I need to fix that right here. Yeah, I'm going to fix it right here live, guys, because that's bothering me. Yeah, 80 episodes, not 20. We are 80 episodes of the Snowflake's Viewpoint in there. So... yeah, so oh dear, trying to get so many. So I before I address the chat, I will come to the chats in just a moment, guys. I do want to apologize. I have been running around. There have been so many other things getting in the way of my work today, unfortunately. Unnecessary things that has slowed my work down. So I literally have only been in the last hour if I gathered the news for today. So I do apologize if I'm not up to date on everything. But I have gone through, I've read a bit of each of these topics, so I've got some general thoughts there to go with them anyway, guys. So I do apologise for that. I will be better prepared tomorrow for the Snowflakes Corner, I can assure you guys. So I do apologise for that. But I've got 6 stories for you guys, as well as 2 funny videos. So hopefully we will have a good show tonight. Mad Monk is here. Good to see you, Mad Monk. And thank you so much for highlighting this on on your Discord and my Discord server. Thank you very much for that, my friend. I really appreciate it. How are you? I hope you're doing well. What is this, your 4th, 5th, 6th live stream you've been to today? Jow is here as well. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Alistair Keir, good to see you, my friend. How are you? Hope you had a good weekend as well. He has now been a member for 11 months. 11 months, fantastic. Thank you so much, for being a member for almost a whole year. Wow, really appreciate your support, Alistair. Thank you so much there. And he's gifted 10 memberships. Wow, that's very kind of you, Alistair. He's gifted 10 memberships to Frederick Rolf III, Mad Monk 33, One Angry Pagan, Joe Lefty, Joldy K, Doc Davis, Mallow Maggot, Tories Don't Get Tasers, Matt Parker, and Def Mac. Thank you very much for those 10 gifted memberships. That's very, very kind of you. I really appreciate your support, my friend. Very, very kind today. It's working. Yeah, I think it's working because it's been the level up because it's the new level, the 199 membership. So, but we'll give it time. Obviously, we'll just carry on as normal. So, Andrew Luke is also here. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Anybody else lurking? Jolie K there, good to see you there. Putting wrong numbers is just Dave McGinnis with bank details. Well, it should be quite easy for me to know what's the next episode when I'm literally doing the details and that, but no, apparently not, guys. Anyways, enough with that, guys. Let's crack on with the show because that's what you guys are here for. We have 6 stories to cover here, guys. I want to start with this first one here that was drawn to my attention. Very concerning indeed. From Russia as well, guys. So this is from The Guardian. The UK government vows to do all it can to help the Briton that has been captured by Russia. The Foreign Secretary offers support for James Scott Wright Anderson, who was fighting for Ukraine, reported in Kursk there. So this is 2 videos of a man who identifies himself as James Scott Wright Anderson surfaced on Russian Telegram channels just over the weekend here. So he has been fighting for Ukraine, as a British soldier. Obviously, The consensus is that they advise people not to. Artibus and Cathal, good to see you both there. And good morning, Steve McMahon, and anybody else who may be lurking in the chats. Hope you're all doing well. Yeah, the weekend has not been nice. Yeah, not been nice either. The weather's been pretty awful here as well, to be fair. Although today has been much nicer. Yeah, nice, calm now. Yeah, obviously this is something that the Russia can play with Britain if they want to get this, if they want to get one of their people back. Obviously, there was always going to be this risk. I believe the UK government did not want Britons getting involved, actually volunteering to put themselves in this conflict, because I know them, like some other nations, obviously volunteered their own people. Some people just volunteered wanting to go and support Ukraine just because out of wanting to support them and not just sitting letting by. I know there are some who did that when the war started, when it kicked off. A lot of, and there was a lot of discouragement from the government at the time. Not just our government, but I think there was some discouragement from other governments as well, not to actually the soldiers to get in there, to get involved, because obviously they don't want to get into a situation. Well, not just obviously putting their own lives on the line. They don't want to get into situations like this, because now he can be used as a bargaining chip. Because the thing is, he is a British civilian and British soldier. And so the Russians will try to use him as some kind of bargaining chip for some kind of deal or leverage with the UK now. What that leverage will be, we don't know. But I don't think they're going to kill him. But we know how they've been using American politicians. There was that American journalist from the New York Times, I believe he was. And it took a long time before Russia finally let him out, and they had to make a trade for him. So I imagine it will be the same thing with this guy. So let's read a bit into it, guys. So the UK government has promised to do all it can to assist a former British soldier fighting for Ukraine who has been taken prisoner by the Russian army. 2 videos of a man who identified himself as James Scott Wright Anderson surfaced on Russian Telegram channels over the weekend. They featured interrogations of a bearded man in military fatigues and faculties who had his hands tied and spoke slowly in English to give details from his biography, including that he served as a signalman in the British Army between 2019 and 2023. Anderson is 22 according to the date of birth he gave in the video. Russian news agency confirmed a British man had been captured. UK Foreign Secretary said on Monday he had been briefed on the case, and I have been updated that the development in the last couple of days. Of course, we will do all we can to offer this UK national all support we can, said David Lammy. During a break in the G7 talks in Italy, a spokesperson from the Foreign Office said we are supporting the family of the British man following reports of his detention. Anderson reportedly travelled to Ukraine 8 months ago to volunteer as part of the Ukrainian Army's International Legion. The exact circumstances of how he was captured remains uncertain, and it's not clear when the video was filmed. The International Legion did not respond to requests for comment. Russian bloggers claimed he was taken near a village of Perkishko in the Kursk region inside Russia. A mercenary from Great Britain who called himself James Scott Wright Anderson was captured. He's now giving evidence, a Russian security source told the state-funded news agency RIA. Yeah, they've been hitting the Kursk region very, very hard there, and obviously, I wonder if things would have been different because it had been in Ukrainian territory rather than in Russian territory. Because obviously, I think American outlet that went into the Kursk region to basically cover news from that region, even though it belongs to Russia, and Russia got mad about that, saying saying that it's got pissed off about that. I don't know if that's anything to read from that, but I would not be surprised if that was true. How he got captured, but better to be captured than killed, I suppose. I think is best to say. Ben Shaw, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Let me just change my chat filter to all, just to make sure that I don't miss anybody there. In the region, mercenary from I've covered that already. Russia traditionally treats foreign fighters with the Ukrainian army as mercenaries, and says they are not subject to standard protection offered to prisoners of war, protections that Russia regularly violates in any case. Yeah, but well, I don't know if they are more brutal than what Israelis have been to the Palestinians. I don't know if they have or not. I've not seen footage. I've not seen any footage from like inside Russian prisons or anything like that of how they treated soldiers. So I can't comment. But we've obviously seen them. I don't know how many of you have, but I've seen obviously some footage and obviously shared stories of what happens inside Israeli prisons when it comes to the treatment of Palestinians or Hamas allegedly in them. But I don't know how I don't know, but either way, like, it was his choice to go into this conflict. That is one thing for sure. Although there have been numerous foreign fighters taken prisoner by Russian forces in Ukraine, Anderson's capture, if confirmed, would be the first known case of a Western soldier being caught inside Russia. Ukrainian forces occupied a chunk of Russian territory in an audacious offensive earlier this year, but Russian troops are pushing them back and have recaptured about 40% of the territory they have lost amid heavy fighting. Yeah, according to the deep state map last week covered it. Yeah, they have been pushing slowly, taking back the territory. It won't be long before they get Kursk. I don't know if they'll get it before the end of the year, but it won't. They are slowly taking that territory back. Anderson's father, Scott Anderson, who has been called by his son's Ukrainian commander to inform him about the capture, has also seen the video. I was in complete shock and tears. I could see straight away it was him, Scott Anderson, had told the Daily Mail. One person who has spent time with Anderson in Ukraine said he was a very giggly, positive, funny, energetic person who loves to hang out with his boys. It's very easy to talk to him, even though he can be introverted in a crowd. He is observant and he's really fun and a comfortable person to be around. Shaul Pinner, a former British soldier who served with the Ukrainian army and was captured while fighting in 2022, told The Guardian that the next 10 days would be crucial for Anderson. Going to be very difficult, but it will be down to his fortitude and resilience. At the end of the day, he is a Ukrainian soldier, not a mercenary. That's the bottom line, said Pinner. When I was captured by the Russians, we tried to bring Britain into it at every turn. It's part of a false narrative that there are British soldiers on the ground here. Yeah, that's the other thing they're trying to paint as well. Pinner was eventually sentenced to death by a Russian proxy court in East Ukraine, but was released later in 2022 after Russian oligarchs Roman Abramovich helped broker a deal to free several British captives. Yeah, people forget that about Roman Abramovich for all the negative about him. Pinner said it was important to remember that anything said publicly about Anderson could have an effect on his case and could be used against him in interrogations. The Russians will take anything that is put out and will show it to him, and we have to recognise that the guys who are behind the camera are also likely to be his interrogators, he said. Ukraine's International Legion was set up early in the full-scale war and consists mostly of foreign volunteers. There are also foreign fighters in many other parts of the Ukrainian army. Earlier in the war, Ukrainian authorities said more than 20,000 people from 52 countries had arrived in Ukraine to fight against Russia. But since then, the numbers have been classified. Well, yeah, because of how Russia been using it. Russia's war in Ukraine has entered the news phase, marked by escalating rhetoric in the weeks before Donald Trump's takeover as US president. Ukraine finally received a long requested green light from Biden administration to fire the long-range missiles into Russia to support the Operation Kursk last week. Vladimir Putin responded by firing an experimental ballistic missile at the city of Dynamo and threatened a nuclear retaliation. Russia has also kept up its drone barrage on Ukrainian cities, while a Monday morning missile attack on Kharkiv hit a residential area and injured at least 23 people, according to the city mayor. Ilor Teskos, a missile also injured 10 people in the middle of the day in the southeastern city of Oscar, local officials said. Ukraine has continued its own attacks on targets inside Russia linked to the Kremlin's war effort. Ukrainian military intelligence officials had told the Association Press that Ukrainian drones were responsible for explosions and a fire at an oil depot at Russia's Kalala region in the early hours of Monday. Yeah, so I don't really want to talk too much about the conflict there, but just a little bit there about some of what's happening in the conflict and the war at the moment. But just on this point here, and I think one or two people mentioned it in the comments there about, you know, it was his choice to get involved in that war and sort of thing. Yes, it was his choice, but we should always be trying to help the government should always be trying to look out for all British soldiers, regardless of whether or not they volunteered or didn't volunteer, whether they volunteered or whatever the reason in this situation. Yes, you can argue, of course, that he should not have been in this war at all. Yeah, you can make that argument, but if he is a British citizen, as he is claiming, and they're claiming in the video, and then in the UK government, as David Lemmy said, they should try to get him out as much as they possibly can. Obviously, without trying to compromising too many things away. At least I would hope not, anyway. But I'll try and keep an eye on it as much as I can for you guys. But yeah, he shouldn't. At the end of the day, it is his choice. The thing is that any negotiations about him are between Ukraine and Russia. The UK is not a party withstanding there, says Jolly K. Yep, that's true. That is true. It is between those two. But but obviously, because the UK has obviously helped a lot, they will obviously be asking questions behind closed doors to Ukraine about it as well. So there'll be conversations. The UK will want conversations in it, and I'm sure that they will give a bit of leeway in some conversations, but not too much as well. Reg, good to see you there, buddy. I hope you're doing well. First they came for, and the last came for the dictator. I agree with you, Mad Mod. Being captured in it is a consequence of being a fighter, even if it's for a noble cause. Yeah. I'm sorry, but this may sound harsh, but let him sit where he is. He went to Ukraine to fight, so he's now a prisoner of war. It's his choice to fight. It is his choice to fight. But I do think if the UK can do something, they should try to do something. If they can. I wonder if they'll take Nigel Farage as a swap. I wouldn't mind that swap, to be fair. The problem is if we swap him, then the Russians won't have much use for him there. That soldier is money for Russia. Yeah, it is. He is. And they will have a flashy trial and then trade him for money or prisoners. That's what I think they will do in the end. I think in the end, the British government will, or Ukraine, there will be a compromise to get him out at some way, stage or form. He's better off kept alive rather than killed, to be fair, guys. So let's move on to the next story, guys. And this one is one that really pisses me off. I am going to rant a bit about this one, because it's a story that we should not have to talk about at all. From Sky News, that's Keir Starmer rules out another general election after petition reaches 2 million signatories. MPs on the right, the Conservative Party, and from Reform UK have been sharing the petition, with Elon Musk also commenting on the launch. Right, this fucking bullshit of a petition, and I'm going to call it a fucking bullshit of a petition, guys. Like, it only takes one. Like, I don't know, like what reaction has been on panels and discussions. But if someone has not mentioned the 6 million signatories for the UK to rejoin the European Union, then what the fuck are we doing here? Like, because this petition, I strongly suspect, and a lot of people are strongly suspecting that it's a bit rigged. That there may be some bots behind it and whatnot to try and stir up something up here. And if in all seriousness that the right wingers and whatnot are saying that, oh, we should have another general election, well, then I'm saying, well, you believe in democracy, you believe in the rights for the general elections and whatnot. Well, I think we should have another vote on the EU referendum. I think we should have another vote because, democracy, because you guys obviously believe in democracy, right? And while we're at it, why don't we have another vote for Scotland to have its independence referendum? I think we should have that as well, because obviously if you guys believe in democracy, yeah, as you guys do, because you want to have another general election, let's let the Scots have another independence referendum, because they should be entitled to it. Because, democracy, guys, you're all for democracy, right? Because you can't, I'm going to say this now, you cannot be somebody who approves of this petition and thinks we should have another general election and not approve the 6 million signatories who say they want to rejoin the European Union. You can't have it both ways. You really can't have it both ways. I'm just not gonna. I'm just this fucking bullshit about these right wingers have made this a conversation. Yeah, these fuckers have made this a reason. Sorry for swearing, guys, but it really does grind my gears that we are having a conversation about this because a bunch of right wingers got a bunch of bots together, or got a bunch of right wingers to make this petition, make it as big as it is, and they actually think something's going to come on it. They actually think that people want a general election. No, I hope YouGov and some of the other pollsters out there do some polls on whether people will want a general election, and I would not be surprised if most of them say, no, I'm not keen on a general election because we just had a big one, I want to see. We want to give this Labour. We want to see what this Labour government are going to do. You know, this. I don't get me wrong. I understand how people's anger is about this Labour government and some of the decisions they make, and I agree. Some of the things that they're doing have been nothing short of piss poor and shit. But they're trying to spin this. Not only the right wingers trying to spin this, but I'm getting so fed up of Americans with their Twitter handles trying to tell Britons that they're in a state or there's total chaos on the streets and whatnot, and it's just so much BS, so much bullshit from America on us, trying to make the social media world think, or people within Britain think that the UK is doomed or something like that, and it's just like we're not doomed. You're the ones who are doomed with the people you've got in. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. And of course, Elon Musk comments on it, obviously, so that's going to amplify it. But I'm glad I muted his account. I got so fed up of him constantly picking up on my feed. I had to mute him. And no, I've not deleted my Twitter account, and nor do I intend to delete it, guys. Let's read into this bollocks. So Keir Starmer has ruled out an early general election after a petition calling for a second vote reached 2 million signatories. So where's our second EU referendum that people have ruled for a petition as well? The petition was launched over the weekend and said there should be another vote just 4 months after Labour won the landslide. Because they have gone back on their promise, they laid out the lead up to the last election. By Monday mid-morning, it reached 2 million signatories and was climbing fast. Now, the Prime Minister said he would not be calling another general election. However, he said he was not surprised by those who did not want to support Labour wanted a second vote. Look, I remind myself that very many people didn't vote Labour at the last election, he told ITV's Good Morning Britain. I'm not surprised that many of them want a rerun. That isn't how our system works. There will be plenty of people who didn't want us in the first place. So my focus is on the decisions that I have to make every day. And he's absolutely right. Not everyone voted Labour. Not everyone wanted Labour. But, you know, you're going to need, like you cannot rely on, like, I would not be surprised if the majority were bots. Even if they reach, I don't care if it reaches 5 million signatories. I don't care if it reaches 10 million signatories. Yeah, if the only way you're going to take that petition to me seriously is you reach 1 billion. But even then, I will question the legality of it, because chances are it's going to be run by bots, as some people have already pointed out in the chats. So I'm not taking that petition in any way seriously. If there's a petition you want to take seriously, it's the one about us rejoining the EU that reached 6 million signatories, and that was not done in a very short space of time. Like, it just does not add up, this petition. But they will use it as a weapon to try and beat Labour over, because they have to find an excuse to beat Labour over, and that's exactly what this is, guys. It's all that it is. Petitions on the government's website are considered for debates by MPs after 10,000 signatories. Petitions get a government response after tallies reach 100,000. This is very frustrating. Yeah. I hope they never consider it for a debate. I hope it's put straight in the bin. Do not waste government time with this stupid petition. Even before Keir ruled one out, an early general election was unlikely, as Labour has a large majority, and the only Prime Minister has the power to ask the King to call a general election. Exactly. The power is in his hands, so, you know, all you right-wingers and that can just, you know, fuck off. Over the weekend, MPs considered to be from the right of the Tories or from Reform UK were urging people on social media to sign the petition. Reform Deputy Leader Richard Tice and Conservative Shadow Business Secretary Andrew Griffin were among those sharing the petition. Trump's aide Elon Musk, the billionaire owner of X, reposted a link to a post that said he had got 200,000 signatories in a few hours. He wrote, wow. Yeah, well, that's what he always does. Musk has previously spoken out against Keir Starmer, calling him two-tier Keir over police and treating communities according to their racial backgrounds in different ways. Some accusers have been urging people from all over the world to sign the petition. Well, why? So I signed a list of postcodes so they could pretend that they were UK voters, a stipulation of being able to sign the petition. Exactly. Here you go. Right there. Right there. It just shows you how fake it is. Right there. Perhaps maybe they need to change the petition, the format of the petition now. Maybe they need to add some more security layers so that people can't take advantage of it. The government has faced a sizable backlash against some of the policies it has introduced, including inheritance tax on farms, cutting winter fuel payments, raising national employers' national insurance, and applying VAT to private school fees. The petition was launched by Michael Westwood, the owner of the Wagon and Horse pub in Albury in the West Midlands. He told the Daily Express, "I think people have had enough. People have not seen what's happened over in America as well, and I think that's had a knock-on effect. Actually, people stand together and vote, then we can make a change." What the fuck are you talking about? He's completely deluded. The latest Ipsos political pulse poll found that the Labour Party is not viewed very well, with 20% of the public holding a favourable view and 49% unfavourable. Labour's overall performance since coming into power is ranked as 4 out of 10. Majority, 56%, said they felt the country is heading in the wrong direction, while 2 in 5 Britons say they are worse off since Labour come into power. I think it's too early to say that again. Like I understand how people feel about Labour. It's too early to say that. We have to give Labour a chance to see what they can do, so that we can then make a decision at the next general election of whether we want this government or not. We really should not be the calls already, literally, when we've not even had a full goddamn year. We haven't even had a full goddamn year of them, and they've only been in power for more than 100 days since July. Like, and already, like, we need to be realistic, guys. I didn't sign it. I signed the one that says that Carl X movement asked for 1 election per year, and could we do that, please? There is no media in the UK, so how can you trust them? They are mere mouthpieces for several lobby groups. Yeah, exactly. Like there's some stories I keep finding out about, and I was like, why didn't the media cover this, or why didn't the media cover this, or why didn't the media cover this? There's been some good stories that Phil Morehouse has covered on his channel that have been nothing heard from the mainstream media as well. Lack of political comprehension of the British politicians has reached out almost same level as the US, and they should worry you and us. Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing the back of Sir Keir and having a more socialist Labour politician take over. I understand that. I totally get you there, Reg. I really do. But we do have to we do have to see what they can do. You know, I understand if some people feel they want a general election now, but you know, for me, like, this general election was fair, was legal. Like, I'm not happy that I'm not happy that still a huge chunk of the population voted Conservative. But at the end of the day, that is democracy. But we also have to we have general elections every 4 years, and that's how it should be. It shouldn't be the case that just because the election didn't go the way you wanted, that we should change things up. Like, if this is the case, we should be able to do this with the Conservatives, but we didn't. We kept getting held back so many times by the Conservatives. In Finland, a petition like that requires strong authorization for signing. No anonymous vote from St. Petersburg, but of course England is against any kind of strong authorization. Yeah, they need to change that. I think they need to make emergency changes to that, because yeah, it's very, like, I've got like 5-6 different email accounts, and I can just sign them with all 6 different emails accounts, and I can put 6 votes in just like that. It's that easy. Like, and I've got like, and there's like different homes that I know that I've stayed in, or places of other people's wanting, and I can literally just type in their postcodes, and that would count. That would count towards the vote. So it's just dumb. There needs to be like you need to have like it needs to be filled in like a proper form, like your full name, your address, your postcode. There needs to be more details, or maybe like maybe even like a login, like if you log in or something. I don't know. There needs to be some safeguards. Safeguards need to be put in for these petitions now, because they're getting out of hand now. That petition just craps Sterling, in my opinion, says Alistair Keir. Yeah. We're now on the 3rd petition about Brexit, all of them in high numbers. Yeah, but they won't talk about it. I have a strong feeling also should I get a belt or belting or a drink, says Andrew Luke. This is information on lobbying practices. Yeah, says Jow as well. Yeah. Definitely for sure, guys. Anyway, moving along from that pointless story to another pointless person from Sky News, that Kemi Badenoch refuses to say if Conservatives would reverse the employers' national insurance rise. So Rachel Reeves announced employers' national insurance rise would increase to 15% from April next year, prompting outcry from businesses who say they face closing or hiking prices in response. So here's the thing, right? This is the problem with Kemi and the Conservatives. They sit on the fence about everything, nearly everything. They say they wouldn't do this, they wouldn't do this, they wouldn't do what Labour are doing, they wouldn't do what Labour are doing, A, B, and C. And one of the biggest hitbacks is that we will say, what we will say, especially here on YouTube, with the YouTubers, or what political analysts need to be saying every time the Conservatives say they won't do something, that they wouldn't do what Labour are doing. And we say to them, well, what would you do instead? What would you do instead? Well, I wouldn't do what they do, but what would you do instead? Well, I wouldn't be raising taxes. I would be cutting taxes. Well, I was like, well, how's that been working for the last several years since, you guys have been in power for a long time? How's that tax cutting doing? Do people feel better off? No, of course they don't. Oh, would you reverse this national insurance rise? Yes. Okay. Well, where would you raise the money then? How else would you do it? These are the questions that journalists do not ask. They don't ask the proper questions to politicians of, okay, if you're not going to do this, what are you going to do instead? What's the alternative? This is the thing that I get really, really frustrated about. Now, obviously, the fun thing, as Kemi Badenoch said when she got voted in, she said, we're going to have a lot of fun being in opposition. Yeah, because they can literally say whatever they want, because they're not in power. They can claim that they will do this or claim they will do that, and no one can just you can bat an eyelid or whatever, because they can just change their minds if they ever get back into power at some point. They may do, but we'll have to wait and see. Daily Blase, good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well, guys. Do check out Daily Blase's YouTube channel. He dropped 2 lovely videos today, very good videos, guys. I do recommend checking them out at some point if you get a chance as well. Wonderful, good stuff there on his channel. So let's read into this. So Kemi Badenoch has refused to say the Conservatives would reverse the Labour's increase in employers' national insurance. So the Tory leader told business leaders at the Confederation of British Industry, CBI conference, she would not change any Labour budget policies that are not working and not raising any money. Interesting. So when asked by Sky News to reverse the increase in employers' national insurance due to rise to 15% from April 2025, Ms Badenoch hinted that she would likely change it, but she would not comment on every bit of micro policy. She said it was quite clear the last government led by Rishi Sunak did not think about national insurance paid by employers, and this should be this high, as she did not raise it at the last Tory budget. The fact there are so many organisations, especially those that have people who are on the lowest wages, are saying that this is becoming unaffordable. This means that we should look again, she said. We believe that employers' national insurance, while necessary to help us fund public service, is a tax on jobs. I know this from personal experience. I'm not taking that. I don't care if it's your personal experience, allegedly. When employers have to pay, it means that they have less money for higher wages. They may not create new jobs. Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, a lot of them have ruled out the possibility. Like, there's a lot of factors into, as we've talked about before, about this this increase from national insurance contributions, to whether it will be more jobs would be created, less jobs will be created, or less people will get hired. Some people's wages will not go up as much as others in some businesses, or in circumstances, if instead of doing those things, they could increase the prices of their products instead, in order to basically pay off the difference when it comes to this. So at the end of the day, it's either going to be consumers or employees that are going to get hit, because the companies will not want to take the hit themselves, most of them. So they will look at ways of throwing it on someone else to take, if possible. Ms Badenoch also told the conference, there is no point in me just complaining about Labour when it was obvious that the Conservatives lost the confidence of business. Get my words out, Regan. She said the Conservatives must be the party of business, not just big business, not just corporations, but small business too. The new government believes that invisible business can absorb these costs, but it is everyday people who bear the brunt, either in higher prices or lower prices, sometimes both, she added. So what are you going to do for businesses? Like, you're saying you accept you lost the the confidence of business. What exactly are you going to do for business now then? Again, no policy. Give us a policy, Kemi. Give people a reason to vote for you. You ain't even giving a policy. You're saying they're bad. Okay, what are you offering? They're bad. That's what it is. So Keir Starmer last week defended the decision to raise employers' national insurance after more than 70 businesses, including Tesco's, Asda and Sainsbury's, told Rachel Reid in an open letter that the budget's announcements mean price hikes are a certainty. He said the reason we got in such a mess over the last 14 years is because the last government refused to take a single difficult decision. The Governor of the Bank of England, Andrew Bailey, said retailers were right to warn of potential job cuts. I think there is a risk there that the reduction in employment could be more, he said. Labour spokesperson said Ms Badenoch's refusal to say if she would reverse the national insurance rise shows the Conservatives seem to finally accept that the damage they did to the economy made tax rises necessary. Well, the Tories try and figure out what they think. Labour is getting on with fixing the foundations and rebuilding the country, he added. Well, again, the thing is that the Tories are not saying, they are the opposition. If they are the alternative, if they want to be the alternative, they need to offer something to people. Give people a reason to vote for them. It's really not rocket science. At the moment, they're not offering anything. And you could argue in the chat, yeah, it is early days for them to offer anything. And you're right, it is. But give them something. Keep saying, oh, Labour are bad, we wouldn't do this. You've got to offer something. If you want to win voters over, you've got to offer them something at least. But they're kind of all over the place, to be fair. There. Let's have a quick look in the chat. I've had 2 days of consistent coverage of football. Says Madmonk 33. Can anyone tell me what is the Kemi plan? Is she actually spoken of it, or is it just Labour are bad, we are good, never mind, just for over 14 years of power? Yeah, exactly, Joe. That's exactly it. We don't know what it is. I believe when you put your full name and a postcode in an automatic system, checks with the electoral register before sending an email to confirm and register your participation. Yes, that is true. Every time, yeah, I've known from covering many, I've signed many petitions as well. So I know, I've only done it, I've never used another email. I've always used the same email because I don't want to cheat the system. But every time it always says, you have to go to your email and use your email and to confirm it. And then it gets put through. But it's too easy to do. It's not that hard to do at all. It really isn't. Why all the planned cuts for the welfare budget if Labour are upping national insurance contribution? That is what NI is intended for. I just wish there were other ways of doing it. The thing is, I get the anger about it. I really do. I really wish, that they would target the rich more. I really wish they would target the rich and the wealthy more. But they're scared of upsetting them too much, Labour. I really do think they are scared of upsetting them. I wish, I just think I wish it didn't have to hit businesses. Because they're trying to show that we care, we're looking after the employees. But you also got to look after businesses as well. But it's annoying, I know, guys. So, guys, we're going to take a little short break to break the ice a little bit here, guys, because we've got a couple more stories for you. I've got one story which is kind of bonkers, but it is from the Times. But before we carry on, guys, hope you guys enjoy this little funny video. It is one I've played before. I don't think I've played it on this live stream, so some of you guys may not have seen this one before, but I watched it. I watched it this morning, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to play it again because I thought it was that funny. So this is from Foil and Arms, guys. The headline is 2 politicians on a date, and if you've been watching enough politics, you will know exactly what this means.
So how long have you been single?
Well, I had a disagreement with my party 2 years ago, and I've been independent ever since.
No, sorry, your relationship status. So what do you do for fun?
Well, I enjoy local funerals.
Oh, me too.
Walking, movies, and presently
I've been learning to play the piano.
Sorry, if I could just finish. Presently, I am starting
The
to
piano
learn.
is something that I've
I am
taken up
starting to
recently,
learn
and I think the
German.
merits
I am
of it could be
starting to-
very
I am
applicable to the
starting-
youth
I am
of this
start- I am
country. It
starting
is
to
wonderful
learn- I am
artistic merits, and if we could
starting to
roll
learn
this out
German.
across the
I am
country, I
starting
think
to-
we would.
Excuse me, if you wouldn't mind.
This document I'm holding in my hand outlines in detail the items available for public consumption.
I have never seen that document before in my life, nor do I have prior knowledge of its contents.
Well, you probably want to look at it
Oh,
there,
yes,
John.
thanks
You
very
didn't
much,
get
yeah.
one, yeah.
No.
So you're both going for the salmon?
Aye.
Aye.
So the eyes have it. I would expect the salmon to be delivered on time and as promised.
And as we wait, I would expect something to snack upon.
These are bread and butter issues. Well, you left that toilet in some state.
It was the previous occupant that destroyed that toilet. I inherited that mess.
The quota of toilet paper has been far exceeded in that toilet, although none of it seems to have been used appropriately.
The bill, gentlemen.
€336,000.
Sure, you get a bike shed for that.
So who's picking up the bill?
The Irish taxpayer.
Of course.
Well, that was a fun evening.
Yes, I enjoyed your company.
Yes, likewise.
Yes, well, I'm going left.
Oh, I'm going right.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Well,
Yes, that's it.
yeah.
Oh, dear. It's so funny, but so good. It's one of my favourites from Foil and Arms because of some of the characterisation that they use in that restaurant is brilliant. Link for it is in the description, guys. Absolutely wonderful stuff. Needed that after all that, some of the nonsense stories that we have to cover here on Regan Stays Around. So guys, if you haven't already, please hit the like button, be greatly appreciated. It's that thumbs up down below. If you haven't done that, please do that. Really, really helps. Share this across social media so other people are aware of the live stream. If you can do that as well. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. Help me get to 2,000 subscribers before Christmas, if that would be possible, or the end of the year, one of the two. It is a bit of a challenge to get there, but we can do it if we continue to keep pushing. But thank you to those who have subscribed. Really, really appreciate it. But if you want to go one step further and finally support me in the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for just a 99p. Being a YouTube member gets you access to custom emojis. Also gets you access to members' community posts, as well as, and if you're a $1.99 member, gets you early access to additional content. I should point out as well, if you are a member, whatever level you are, you always get a response to me and whenever you comment on any of my videos as well. So thank you to anyone and everyone who's done so. You can also leave any super chats. Yeah, if you want to financially support me as well during the live streams, you also be much appreciated. Or buy me a coffee. Link is in for that is in the description as an alternative as well. Or you could even join the Patreon, where Patreons get exclusive content on there as well as they get free content on there as well. So they get a lot of content. Patreon supporters do there. So if consider joining the Patreon, guys. So if you like or find the information helpful and informative to you, do consider checking out the Patreon. You don't even have to be a paid member. You can literally just become a member for free. Patreon.com/Reganelite. Give it a try and see how it goes for you guys. Right, so plugins all done. Let's move into the next story here. This one's kind of like, this one kind of baffled me a little bit. But I guess more on the national insurance, guys. So this exclusive from the Eye, they says that Christmas presents deliveries are facing delays due to national insurance changes. So if you've not started getting your Christmas shopping in before Christmas, guys, now's a good time to do so. I always like to recommend people to start getting some of their Christmas shopping done before December. I still have a bit of time to do it. I've still got a couple of presents to do, but I've got most of them done in my opinion. But especially if you're ordering presents, whether it's from Amazon or whoever, this could potentially be problematic for the UK here. So let's read a bit more into this, you guys. So, excuse me, Rachel Reeves' budget will hit delivery industries, which is already struggling to meet demands ahead of Christmas, the government has warned. So Neil Carberry, Chief Executive of the Recruitment and Employment Confederation, the REC, said the Chancellor's move to push up employers' national insurance contributions to 15% could see delivery businesses increase fees in the long term or leave them unable to deliver on specific dates. So figures published last week show temporary seasonal job postings, which tend to focus on meeting Christmas-related demands this time of year, have fallen 23% year on year. Lower wage jobs in hospitality and retail jobs are among the hardest hit, but deliveries could also be affected. Firms such as Amazon, Royal Mail, Every and Yodel have launched major recruitment drives in recent months, while REC's labour market tracker shows demand for delivery drivers and couriers were up 78.7% last week. This was followed by postal workers, mail sorters, messengers and couriers up 53.2%. REC's labour's market tracker is a tool to help recruiters and business see how their job market is evolving. It aims to spot signs of growth through job vacancy data. And despite these recruitment drives, Mr. Carberry has warned that some delivery firms will have to cut services or may be even unable to deliver on specific dates. Yeah, so some of them you know on Amazon, I think, or one or two other delivery ones, there's like you can have it delivered on a certain date because people like to have that control, don't they, of when they can want a certain item dropped. Because obviously, especially when people are working long hours, obviously some obviously items and whatnot you require signatories. I think the one of the things that I hate the most is obviously if a delivery doesn't turn up or whatever, and you're not home, it ends up getting taken to the post office, and then you got to queue at the post office to get your parcel. The worst time you want to be doing that is Christmas, because the queues will literally go out the door during that period. So you do not want to be in that situation. He told the Eye, we're also hearing anecdotal reports of firms saying we're not actually going to deliver on that date because we can't staff that date. We're just beginning to see it. This isn't as serious as we see in other sectors, but it's definitely beginning to emerge. Mr. Carberry added that in the longer term, customers may find that deliveries will get more expensive as they have been in recent years. I think consumers have seen many of the impacts of rising employment costs, and if you think things like the increase in automation in restaurants, fewer service staff covering more tables, for instance, the cost of things like delivery go up, he added. It used to be you get everything delivered for free. Now there's some rules about that. All these changes will do is cause that to move even further on. You still get lots of free deliveries in Christmas 2024. By the time we get to Christmas 2025, you have to spend to get things delivered for free. Might be a bit higher. Certainly, that will be all about making sure firms can meet demands with labour where they need labour will cost more. Mr. Carberry added, however, that delivery services are not likely to be hit as hard as retail or hospitality. The super flexibility of scheduling for delivery drivers means that perhaps not been as hard as they say hospitality or retail by staff shortages and increasing costs, told the Eye. Yeah, because this is something, obviously, it may lead to the possibility that, you know, one of the terms that I hate that we in society are starting to have is more work, less hours. And that people are being, in order for cut costs and whatnot for businesses, they throw some of the same departments or same jobs onto same person instead of having separate jobs for separate person. So it gives them more workload to do, and sometimes that can be quite overwhelming for some. I hate that idea. But businesses are doing it so they can make the most of their profits. This is about the bottom line for them, unfortunately. National insurance payments will increase by 1.2% points for employers. Yeah, we've covered all this already. Yeah, we know all that. So what do other experts think? Picatal, director of Manpower UK, said the Chancellor's decision to raise has already put cost-conscious businesses on the back foot as they look at the longer-term plans. Ms. Tagg said many businesses are not yet sure of the best solution to cover the costs they face. They are putting a pin on the new hires as a result. So, yeah, what can tend to happen, and what may tend to happen in retail. So what really tends to happen, guys? So, because I've obviously worked in retail, so I know how it works. So in the build-up between up to September, October, early November, they start recruitments. Businesses, retailers, and whatnot, they start recruitment for extra staff in the run-up to Christmas, so they have the additional staff. Now, and then what normally happens is that if depending on their budgets, individual stores and supermarkets and whatnot, what normally happens is after Christmas, obviously, a lot of them get let go because they're temporary workers, but some can be kept on because they've been good enough or they have a slot for them in their budget and whatnot. The chances of that happening this year are very unlikely. simply because of this decision that the government may be taking. So, but some businesses will depend on that particular store's financial costings and whether they've made profits or not so much profits, or whatever targets that they've been set for themselves. So for example, if we take the last company I used to work for, what they do is they assess the company near the end of the year about how much. It's about end of late November, early January. They decide that they give the budget for the hours that the store gets for the next year, and they will increase the budget if the shop has done well, based on their numbers. If they've done better than they've done the previous year, or better than last year figures or whatnot, because that's normally how they base their figures. But if the numbers have been less, then they get less hours. That's how it works. If a store is not doing as well, then they will get less hours. So that means then either means those who are on jobs on a certain contract hours, obviously it's much, you have to either reduce them or make difficult choices. Those on temporary jobs during the Christmas period, because a lot of people go into the temporary work, some of them want to stay on because they probably have a good job and whatnot, and they don't get that opportunity because there's going to be less hours or less budget. Even if that store is doing a profit, the company overall may lower the budgets or keep the budgets the same based on this very decision by the Chancellor, because obviously the company is going to have to fork up the money for this increase in national insurance contribution. So for some jobs, it's not going to be a case of a lot of those people who go into temporary jobs during the Christmas period with the intention of wanting to get a permanent job, that chances are much lower as a direct result of this decision by the Chancellor. Went in a round way, but I hope that makes sense for you guys. Analysis shows that the increase in NIC could cost employers as much as 33%. For each lower wage worker, they need to make up the difference somewhere, she told the EI. While employers weigh up the dilemma, we're seeing a lot of them hold fire on permanent hiring decisions, which has led to an uptick in temporary staffing demands as a stopgap. Yeah, that's exactly what they would do. Jack Kennedy, senior economics in Indeed, said hiring demand has been subdued lately, with job posting 14% below pre-pandemic levels and gradually falling over the past 2 years. He said it was potentially too early to say how much recruitment slowdowns are because of measures announced in the budget, but said, we do anticipate further headwinds from the NI rise as well as 6.7% national living wage increase, both due to come into effect in April next year, which are set to weigh particularly on lower paid sectors for the hiring of permanent employees. Even in advance of the changes in April, we are seeing that temporary seasonal job postings are down. He said retailers appear to be anticipating a sluggish Christmas trading period and are looking to limit their staffing costs. The Bank of England said it expects the increase flay. I think all this stuff is the same that we've already covered anyway, guys, so we'll just skip the rest of it. But the link for that is in the description. But yeah, it looks like there may be some trouble when it comes to deliveries possibly there. Although we'll have to wait and see, obviously, on that. Time will tell on that one. I think it's the best thing I'll say on that. But the thing is, it doesn't take effect until April 2025. So I don't think it's going to affect this Christmas. Next Christmas will be a test to see how businesses are since then. I think that will be the real question there. I think that's where we'll find out, obviously, how much of an effect it will be there. Mabon33 says, I can say Amazon are not hiring as many as they used to at Christmas as they have automated their picking and sorting systems. Yeah. And that's where a lot of things are going to automation. And all the more reason why we need to have a universal basic income, because AI is going to be taking a lot of jobs that people will not have. So yeah, we are going that way. We are going that way. At first I thought this was a joke article, but it's not. It's actually a very serious one. This one is from the Times, and it's on assisting dying. Suicide pod could be used in the UK if assisting dying is legalised. A 3D printed portable machine that suffocates a user with nitrogen at the press of a button could become available if the bill passes. I'm not sure about this. I don't know why the Times would highlight a story like this. I don't like the idea of a suicide pod. If I'm personally honest, I think the needle, the thing injecting it into yourself, is probably a better way of dying. I don't think I would want to put myself in a pod like that. It doesn't look like a. I do think this is a bit of a scaremongering as well on assisting dying, and I've talked about this to death, guys. I have talked about this to death on this, guys, already. In the last video I did on assisting dying, I put a link here for the bill itself if you want to have a look at that as well. I don't really want to cover more of assisting dying until after the debate, but I feel like I'm going to end up talking about it again on Wednesday. I would not be surprised, but yeah, I just like, I know they have such a thing in Futurama, the TV series, or in the video game. I think it's the video game Fallout series, where you can literally, they can put you in a pod and you can basically die. So yeah, I'm not a fan of this idea of suicide pods. It's what I would call, me personally, a very weird business. But let's read into it anyway, guys. Let's just read into this. So, a controversial death pod that suffocates a user with nitrogen at the press of a button will become available in Britain if assisting dying is made legal, the inventor creator has said. Now, here's the thing. It will cost an absolute fortune, because you are not just paying to use the death pod. It's going to be extremely expensive, because you're not just paying to use the pod. You're paying for the nitrogen as well, so you have to pay for that as well. This is not going to be a cheap way to kill yourself, is what I will say. Like, the thing is that who is going to pay out of pocket for that? That's the thing. The creator of the Sauropod, Dr. Philip Nicholson, 77, said he was keen to release the 3D printed portable machine in Britain if the Labour MP Kemi Badenoch's bill becomes law. He said that the mountains and valleys of the Lake District would be the perfect setting for users to spend their final moments before using the pod. I think mountains and valleys would be a perfect setting, but I don't think in a pod would be ideal. If I'm perfectly honest, it would be much nicer if I am on the edge of a cliff of a beautiful mountains or valley or whatnot, and then I would put a needle or something, or someone put it on my behalf as I slowly fade away. I think that would be much more peaceful way, rather than being inside a pod. That's just me personal. This Friday, MPs will vote on the second reading of the legislation in the House of Commons. I've actually contemplated, guys, in all seriousness, I've contemplated whether or not I actually want to. I don't know if it will be live streams, the reading on the House of Commons, because I'm tempted. I've been tempted to wanting to actually live stream the actual coverage of what speeches are made and whatnot. So I may do that, I may not. The Australian scientist device, which have so far been used only in Switzerland, are fitted with a window that allows users with a view during their final moments. I sat in Dr. Death's suicide pod that then had dinner with its maker. He said the pod could become a popular choice for those who did not wish to die by lethal injection or a cocktail of medicines. Okay. He told the Telegraph he was absolutely interested in marketing his creation in Britain. We have a lot of members there. A lot of UK people followed the Sourdough project very closely, he said. There would be a lot of scope, and I would be very keen to do that. It seems to me that it will just provide an additional option for those who do not want the needle and do not want to drink, who do like what I describe as a stylish and elegant means that is provided by this device in some idyllic location. Yeah, but the thing is like, as cool as this is, Doctor, like, if we wanted a view like that in the pod, we still have to come out of our way to see you. So, yeah. He said the Lake District would be an ideal place for the machine. For people who get that choice of picking the day and the time, it is the most important day of your life, presumably the day you die, he said. Is it the most important day of your life? No. I think I have much more important. There are much more days in more important days in my life, rather than the day you die. Just me personally. If you want to be overlooking lakes or mountains or looking at whatever, there's no reason you shouldn't be accommodated. Certainty, Sago can do that. Lethal Academics told the Telegraph that the broad wording of Ledbetter's bill would make Nicola's machine legal in Britain with the Health Secretary's approval. I can see someone saying, "Can we put Westrine in there?" And I'm like, "No, don't go there, Regan. Don't go there. Don't go there." Richard Akins, Casey, Professor of Law and Constitutional Government at St John's College in Oxford, said, if Kim Ledbetter's bill passes and if the Secretary of State approves the liquid nitrogen as an approved substance, then Thaco's death pod would be a lawful means to assist suicide in Britain. Yeah, it will still need to be improved by the Health Secretary. Atkins said that if Westrine, who intends to vote against the bill on Friday, rejects the Sarko device, those with swallowing difficulties or needle phobia will likely bring a discrimination challenge under the European Convention on Human Rights. Oh, that is true. That is true. That is true. I'm not saying a challenge would succeed, but phobia could be in other status for the purpose of Article 14 of the Convention, and thus the question would be again, why is one interfering with Article 8 on the right to private life in this discrimination faction, limiting the effective right to die for some but not others? Interesting. The sarcopod was first developed after a request from the lawyers of a British catalytic man, Tony Nicholson, who launched a legal challenge 12 years ago demanding doctors to be given the right to help him end his life. Under Swiss law, helping another person to die is not a criminal offence as long as there is no selfish motive. In September, an unnamed 64-year-old American woman with a rare bone infection died in the capsule. Several people were arrested on charges of assisting her to use the Dutch-made device. Police took the woman's body and pathological reportedly noted strange marks on her neck. All those involved have denied wrongdoing. Ahead of Friday's vote, campaign group have taken out adverts on the London Underground showing off people's effectiveness by terminal illness, making a dying wish to be able to choose how they die. I haven't seen those adverts. I was travelling through London. I don't recall seeing them. One advert depicts Sonia Blakes, who has stage 4 breast cancer, dancing in pyjamas. Blake from Brighton told Dignities in Dying charity that she wants her 16-year-old daughter to remember her mother for the fun life she lived, not the suffering at the end. I have not seen these adverts in London. I was literally travelling in London on Sunday, so I did not see these. My dying wish is that my family won't see me suffer and I won't have to. When I cannot stay, let me choose. So, let us choose Dignity in Dying. The adverts appear online newspapers and on billboards at London Underground Station, including Westminster. I literally passed Westminster. Sorry, I just need to point that out there, guys. Yeah, not so sure about the pod, but here's the thing. Like you said, there is some argument that some people would prefer that rather than needle or other means. Like, as far as the assisting dying bill, I don't think it will pass because I think there's too many people who are against it. I think there's too many strong characters who are against it. I just think that's the case as much as I want it to pass. I think there's too many characters who are against it. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope it does pass, but I doubt it. I think it will get shot down in the end. Too many big names are against it. And I just want to point this out there. As far as Gordon Brown is concerned, when he says... well, you just need to improve. You need to improve end-of-life care for them. You can improve end-of-life care all you goddamn want, Mr. Brown. Like, you can give people the most comfort you possibly can. But if that person is suffering inside and there's nothing to do to quell that pain while they're suffering and dying away, that's not... doesn't matter how much end-of-life care you give them. That person is suffering and wants to die. You're denying that person the right to choose. I've almost contemplated on a part of me, guys, has also contemplated on thinking that this is as I don't like thinking this way, guys. I really don't. But a part of me feels like this is a person's right to die is almost in has similarities to a woman's right to use their own body. I do think of it in similarities to it. It's not the same thing of what women are going through right now, especially in America. The difference, obviously, with this bill, as I've said before, and I will say this again, there are huge safeguards in. 2 independent doctors need to verify. You have to be with the same GP for 6 months. You need approval from a High Court judge. And you have to actually be 6 months away from dying before you can actually do this. All these factors have to be for you to get this. It's not a case of any, like, the perception. I'm worried that there is too much of a perception out there that people think that they can just turn up and get and choose to end their life. That's not what this is. That's not what this is at all. But people are already jumping to conclusions that's what this is. That will set a precedent. It's not going to set a precedent. It's just giving people an option. If people are terminally ill and are on their deathbed, they are in pain and they are suffering, and it is their choice to do so, then they should be allowed to. It's so frustrating. Right, let's go to this one final video, guys, here from Barline Times. So this one here from Keir Starmer's government has been accused of running in fear from the right-wing press on civil servants working from home. So the union leader accuses the Labour government of trying to face both ways amid threatening strikes on the orders from civil servants to return to office. So what is this about, Regan? So basically, this is about civil servants who have been working from home since COVID, and they're able to still do their work from home. But instead of allowing people instead of allowing the civil servants the right to choose to work from home or not, they're being told, no, you have to come back to the office. And this is infuriating because some people are more productive at home than they are at work. And we've had this conversation in the past, but I want to bring this up again. Whether you are at home or if you're at work, if you're doing a job and it involves you with a computer, if you can get the job done sitting like I am right here behind the computer at home, if I can do the job here, and I become more productive here and beneficial for my health and well-being here rather than being in a noisy office, then good. However, there is also the opposite effect where some people are actually better in the office where they socially interact with workers and sort of thing, and there's that environment as well. But as we've talked about in the past before, the downside to that is, of course, some people obviously don't like working in the office. But the other thing as well is it costs money to travel from A to B. Some people have to drive, some people have to take the tube. That costs them money. Yeah, that doesn't come, when people travel to and from work, it comes out of their own pocket. If transport was free, I think there'd be more incentive for people to go to travel to work rather than actually be at home, because people want to look after every single penny in their pocket. But that's not the case. So, yeah, because you guys remember Jacob Rees-Mogg was hammering Tong. You remember him kicking and screaming about civil servants working from home, saying it's outrageous, they should all be back in work. Yeah, and this was still as we were literally around the pandemic time as well from him. It was absolutely nasty, and I remember those comments. I remember those comments very, very well. So Keir Starmer's government's been accused by a union leader of bowing to media pressure over civil servants working from home amid threatened strikes over the issue. Strikes are brewing in several public sector bodies over demands for staff to return to the office amid suggestions the government is bowing to media pressure. Members of the largest civil service union working at the Office of National Statistics, ONS, have voted for an all-out strike over compulsory office attendance, while civilian staff working in the Metropolitan Police are currently balloting for strike action over returning to the office. Why make it compulsory? What is the benefit here? What is the benefit here? Since May, ONS staff in the Public and Commercial Service Union PSS have refused to follow an instruction to spend at least 40% of their time in the office. By continuing to work from home, they recently escalated the dispute by refusing to work overtime. So they've changed it because they've refused to work overtime. spend at least 40% of their time in office. See, this is. I know. I know one or two family members who have a compromise with their job where they work a couple of days in the office and a couple of days at home, and there is that compromise there. But obviously, we're talking about civil servants here, so they obviously have a union here representing them. People should be allowed to be flexible. They should have a choice. Now, I'm not saying that they all should be working from home, because I actually do agree that perhaps 1, maybe 2 days they should be in with the offices, because it's good from a bonding point of view. They can be there with their colleagues and whatnot. Sometimes that is a good thing. Yeah, sometimes that is a good thing, rather than being at home all the time. But forcing it against the will, saying you need to be in every single day, whether you like it or not. No, you have to be in, even though you can do your job from home. That's not right. That's not right. So meanwhile, thousands of PCS union members working for the land registry are also balloting for strike action after being ordered back into the office 3 days a week. Three days a week. Well, that's not every day. See, that makes does. It depends on if you're working 5 days a week. Yeah, it's again, like, where's the flexibility? There's no flexibility there. Around 3, like, for me, it should be at least, like, for me, like, I have no problem with it being 1 day at least. 1 day compulsory. You need to be at least 1 day a week in the office. Like, I have no problem with it being 1 day. But 3 days, especially if you're working 5 days a week. Around 3,800 workers based in 14 land registry offices across England and Wales will vote between November the 28th and December 23rd on whether to walk out over the request. Many civil servants are frustrated that Labour has not repealed the demands for non-frontline civil servants to be in the office 60% of the week. PCS General Secretary Franz Helfgott had told Byline Times that right-wing newspapers, including the Telegraph and Daily Mail, have played a role in that. The message we're getting from government is it's not going to be imposed. But it hasn't been officially withdrawn either. I think because they know the minute that they say something about it, the right-wing media will go mad and say, here we are, Labour are soft on unions, letting members walk away and never be seen again. Labour's trying to force both ways at the moment. They're trying to be a friend to the unions, saying we're different from the Tories, but they're also trying to appease banks and big businesses, saying we'll be the party of business. Helfgott accused departments of setting arbitrary targets on working in the office. Another government department set another arbitrary attendance target without providing any evidence or the reason for the decision, she told this paper. On the ONS strikes, Helfgott argues that the industry actions there has until now had no tangible impact on the ONS outputs, which was the point, because we said our members can work at home just as well, if not better, than being in the office. This is the thing. If your job is unaffected, whether you, like, here's the thing, I just don't understand what the issue is. As long as they are doing the job that you are asking them to, why is it such a big deal that they have to be in the office? Like, if they're doing their job and you know they're doing their job, and you're like, if you're keeping track of everything that they're doing, why is it such a big deal? I can understand 1 day a week. I can understand that. I can understand saying we need everybody in 1 day a week. I can understand that. But why do they need to kind of enforce these things? However, the union has the authority to call for a full strike at any time in the next 6 months. If management wants to ensure the work at the ONS remains unaffected, they must engage in meaningful talks if they want to end this dispute, she says. Union figures are frustrated that parts of the press conflate with a few Whitehall-based civil servants running central government departments, with the 500,000-strong wider civil servants spanning job centre staff to court clerks and politician inspectors across the UK. An average civil servant now, sadly, is on the national minimum wage, not the typical person with a bowler hat as portrayed by some of the right-wing media, Helfgott says. Yeah, this is again, you get this perception that civil servants are paid a ton of money. No, they're not. And working from home, she adds, I think they would love to paint a picture of lazy civil servants sitting at home doing nothing when in fact the reality is productivity has gone up, not down. When there's a bit more of an adult conversation and dialogue, nobody has died. People just got on with it and worked very successfully. The demand from work from office in some government bodies comes despite so-called estate management programs, meaning offices are being closed to save cash. Health costs says in the Department of Work and Pensions, they couldn't even if they wanted to facilitate 60% of staff returning to office because they've lost so much of the government estate, and they frankly don't have the space for it. Minister, cut pay of civil servants who work at home. Yeah, see, this is earlier this month from the Daily Mail. Look, civil servants who refuse to return to the office should be paid less than those back in their desk. A cabinet minister suggested last night. There's this just trying to. Why does it matter? Why does it matter again? Like, can someone please answer? I will come to your messages at the end of this article, guys. Don't worry. Minister of Housing, Communities and Local Government, the MCHLC, is closing offices in Truro, Exeter, Warrington and Sheffield, Newcastle, Birmingham, for example, while appearing to resist calls for staff to move to a 4-day-a-week. Public and Commercial Services, PCS union members are working for the Metropolitan Police are being balloted for strike action after being ordered back to the office in the new year. The more than 2,400 civilians who support the day-to-day work of police officers said they are angry after managers renegotiated on a deal dubbed blended working, which allows them to work from home a part of the week. Depending on where they work, the increase in office attendance equates to a day extra a week in the office for full-time staff. The ballot opens November the 6th with the result expected on December the 10th. Healthcott says her union recognises not all staff can work from home or work a 4-day week, but where possible or wanted by staff should be given the option. Yes, options. PCS members working for the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs and the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Governments, the MHCLC, are campaigning for a 4-day working week. Ben, a PCS rep at the MHCLC, says a 4-day week with the same pay would make my dream of having children much more realistic. My partner and I would like to have children, but right now it seems impossible. Fewer days in the office could mean we could share childcare responsibilities. Yeah, especially if there's somebody who are struggling with money, because guess what? Childcare is impossible. It's impossible to get childcare because guess what? It costs a effing fortune. It comes after the union claimed the government could save $21 million a year by allowing Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs staff to work 4 days a week. Yes, remember this discussion. Statisticians for the union interviewed more than 1,200 workers and estimated staff turnover would reduce annually by 57%, freeing up the money to hire an additional 2,345 employees. The PCS union is in the early days of negotiating a hybrid working agreement with its 200 staff or so, Healthcott says. Yes, hybrid working agreement. I like that. I like that term. We want to try and find a balance that works for our staff. We've got staff like the civil servants that hate working from home. And then we've got a bit like civil servants. You've got others to say, I won't be coming in because I've got a dog. I wonder, what do you do before the pandemic? Yeah, so there's some cases where they need to be at home, or some cases because maybe like circumstances or whatever. But again, we've talked about it's different for everybody. I think we're typical. We're not going to be like former Conservative Minister Jacob Rees-Mogg, employer. Clearly, we pride ourselves on being a really good employer for the people who work for us. But when I'm in London, I choose to be in Clacton for the office every day because I want to give that message that while I'm here, I expect people to be here, and that is the start to not have an effect. I think there's a lot you can do by setting that example. Everyone is different. The message I have is everyone is different, and people should be allowed to have that more flexibility. Now, I'm not saying that every day they should be out of the office. I don't have a problem with 1 day a week in the office. I don't like it being imposed on people. Because I do think sometimes the team bonding thing can be a good thing. Even though you don't always want it. You don't always want to be in the office, and I can get that. Everybody's different. But I do think that people should have that choice. And the message, I've said it already a couple of times already, but if they're doing their job, why does it matter whether they're at home or in the office? And the thing is that there is this consensus that's been made that bosses can't keep an eye on their employers because they're not in the office. Bosses can employees could be more slack off and be more lazy because they're not being watched over by the offices, that they can go away from their computer and start playing video games or play with their phone or whatever because they're not being watched over by their bosses, sort of thing. Which isn't, if what a lot of jobs, especially if you're working from home, what they tend to do is, I'm just going to push. What they tend to do is they have a clock in and clock out system. So when you are working, you are clocked in. You are being monitored by the company. When you are not, when you are working, you're being monitored by your computers linked to to whatever company or whatever you're working at, using the computer you are. So you're being measured. You're being tested to see, if you're working or not. So there is that. Now, obviously, there's the other factor that some people may argue as well. Well, what about if that person has crap internet, or the internet goes out? That's a fair argument as well. But there's also that as well. And and as you guys know, I don't have the internet here. It's not the best internet. That it does enough for me. But obviously, sometimes I have instances where the internet goes down, and I'm like kicking and screaming because obviously, it's not ideal, but. Flexibility. People need to have choices. And I think that's really, really important. So let's have a look at what you guys have been saying about all this. So Jal says, this is just like that Tory mentality of a plague that in an office space, meaning that the company and its headquarters there. I got a lot of it from Brexiteers. To Andrew Luke, he says, some companies like insurance companies here have reduced their headquarters to an office space regional and a little more. They can employ more people and pay better for qualified people. I have a girlfriend that works like that since before COVID. Andrew Luke also says, in areas where work from home happens, there are a lot, if any, safeguards to stop management from closing an office to save money. Exactly. There's less of a need for offices now because people are doing it online. You don't need them as much as they used to. Steve McMahon says, I'm working from home as we speak, and I'm far more productive because I don't spend all my time on social media, says Steve. Oops. At the end of the day, the thing is, Steve, at the end of the day, as long as you are doing your job and your employers are seeing you're doing your job on the computer from what you're monitoring, whatever your job is, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. They don't need to be right there standing on top of you to see what you're doing. As long as you are doing the job that has been required, if you're making certain targets and whatnot, it doesn't matter. And yeah, some people do sometimes just switch off and just start looking at other things as well. Yeah, they do that. But yeah, I'm not going to tell anyone if you're supposed to be working and you're listening to this instead. Jody K says, well, reports that the part of work done from home and the tax authorities calculate the deduction is basically automatic. If you use electricity, internet, there is compulsory payment the employer must add to the pay. Interesting. Let me just scroll back up to see what he said. Might as well spend a weekly meeting day in the office instead of pretending not to play OW2. What game is that? But it only works in a place with a strong work laws like most of the EU. Less productive countries create abuses, says Jal. Alistair Keir says, home working saves electricity and heating of offices, even rent, and in opinion, so it's cheaper. Yeah. And it's actually, this is there's a technicality thing, as you just you said there, because you're using your electricity in your home to work as well. But the thing as well, I don't know if something that should be, if electricity for use the internet and whatnot should be compensated by the company, but I don't think it matters really, because you use internet at home even when you're not working, to be fair. Demand for staff to return to the office. Who or what is making these demands in the first place? Well, it's pressure from the right-wing media to create this perception that people who work from home are lazy, they're fat, they're not doing anything, they're just slouching around playing video games and whatnot, rather than actually doing the job of being a civil servant instead of being in the office, isn't it? It's just perception. It's just a perception. It's the same bollocks about benefits. Now, it's the exact same bollocks about benefits is what it is. People think the majority people think that everyone who's on benefits are lazy, incompetent, and don't want to go back to work, when it is a small minority of people who are that. The majority want to go back to work, but it's just a case of like their healthcare is in crisis and not always getting the treatment they need, or that they've not been compensated for the kind of work that they could potentially do as well. You know, people jump. Obviously, people don't read the full pictures and they jump to conclusions, don't they? Good to see you, Dave McGuinness. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good evening. And yeah, I was there for obviously both live streams. Do check out the two Davies. He'll be back tomorrow morning reading the papers at 10:30 tomorrow, so don't be late for that, or he'll put you on the naughty step. Andrew Luke says that maybe this disillusion of convenience store euthanasia is project guilt from the supermarket queue deaths of the death penalty. Yeah. If the job gets done, why force a return to office? Exactly. You scroll down, see what you're saying. I can see how those points would make sense, says Andrew Luke. I fear there will be companies which are fat with cash and choose to go remote only. I suppose it's a long way. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, again, it's just choice. You know, it's just down to choice. And like, as most of you have already pointed out, the days of office buildings are becoming less and less. You know, there used to be loads of office buildings. I remember back in my hometown when I was born and raised in Elstree and Bournemouth. I remember when I was younger, they had loads of office buildings, not too far away from one or two of the towns that I used to live in. They had loads of office buildings, and I think there's still one or two, but most of them are now gone. And why are they gone? Because they don't need them. They're too expensive. Like, why bother with it when you could just do it all remotely? I mean, every now and then you could have them all you could have workers come together, but you don't need to. You don't need to pay for the building. You don't need to pay for all the rent, the electricity, the heating, you know, and then you got all that stuff. Like, it's just unnecessary waste of money that you could be using to benefit the company that you work for rather for it. So again, like, you're going to see less and less office buildings, and it's going to be same thing in London. So they shouldn't be fiddling about with this. They really shouldn't. Working from home hurts a lot of city centre businesses. That is true. Yeah, that is true. I don't know. Yeah, I do think there needs to be more of a choice sort of thing into it, because I understand that, but less and less people are relying on them. But yeah, the cities themselves, yeah, it's not ideal. Office buildings changed to housing stock, which would help the lack of UK houses, as to Keir. Yeah, indeed. So guys, just before I head out, I've got one funny video to see ourselves out. Oh wow, we've gone quite a fair bit tonight, guys. But I've got one more funny video for you guys. I am not done with the funny videos of Jane Lee Goodley. God bless her soul, may she rest in peace. I am not done with the videos for her. If you thought I was done with the videos for her, oh no. I'm going to keep bringing out some of her classics, guys, because we want to. This is the best way to remember her. That is for sure. So this one I have for you guys. Let me make sure I get it on. It's so you guys remember when Liz Truss kicked the bucket and had to say goodbye to no longer being in number 10. Janie Goody had a nice one here when Liz Truss had to resign. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one.
Well, it's not even as if I'm anxious or anything. It's just that I'm a wee bit stressed, and I've been put out here to tell you all that that's it, the fucking game's up. I said I was going to hit the ground running. I didn't know it was going to take the knees off me, did I? But even the cat's fucked off. But at the end of the day, I tried my best. I nearly did my job. But it never worked out. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. Oh, I'm done. Frank, get the door! Fucking had enough of the lot of them.
I love that bit at the end. Fucking look at that belly. Oh, he needed that, guys. Oh, bless her soul. Like I said, I ain't done with the videos, guys, with her. Absolutely. This is the best way. I love this. This is good. This is good. This is really nice. So, yeah, wonderful stuff, guys. So, guys, just a reminder, for those who didn't see the morning post, I'll be back tomorrow with the Snowflake Corner at 7 o'clock. So do join me for that for some common news from outside the UK. On Wednesday, we have a double live stream header with covering Prime Minister's questions at 12 p.m, followed by the Snowflake Watch at in the evening there. On Thursday, I have the Snowflake conflict. We'll be covering what's happening in Haiti, Sudan, Gaza, and Ukraine for that. And then on Friday, 7 o'clock, guys, I will be back with Friday Lights. I know you guys didn't get that last week, but I will have it this week for you guys. And I should be able to record premiere videos for you guys this weekend coming as well. So, obviously, as you guys saw from the post this morning, I just wanted to put this out there for you guys because I know some of you guys may be a little bit concerned. The channel is not last couple of days have not been good in terms of viewing numbers. Subscriber count has only had a boost, has had a nice boost today, which is nice, but overall the channel has been quite stagnated. So there was a membership poll if anyone wants to take part in that and asking what they think the reasons behind it. Of course, I know some people are put off politics. My hope is that at the end of this year that the viewer numbers will come back and people will get back into it again. But obviously, it's about not everybody's kind of down from news and politics, obviously, because of what's happened in the US, which is understandable. But yeah, this channel, like my main videos have been really struggling. Like I've not had a video hit 1,000 views for a good couple of months now, which is very worrying. So yeah, I definitely am not getting the same as I used to get, but the work will continue. And I want to say thank you to those who have been financially supporting me, especially as to Keir today with the gifting memberships. I really appreciate it. But like I said in the quotation, guys, you have ups and downs. But the work will continue. And guys, just a reminder, next month, there's a lot of excitement next month here on the channel, by the way. Did you know that there is a Snowflake Roundtable with myself, Dave McGuinness, Random Scottish History, and One Angry Pagan next month? Oh, you didn't know? Do make sure you are ready for that, guys. Next month, that's coming up. The Snowflake Show with myself and Lee Corn, a Christmas special. That's coming up next month as well. Do check out that. And I'm still looking to get maybe one more guest for a live stream at some point. So maybe I'll get a third guest. Maybe I'll do a collaboration with somebody or something like that as well. So yeah, some food for thoughts there, guys. Some food for thoughts. So thanks for coming along, guys. Really appreciate it. Maybe do a comedy show twice a week. The problem is maybe Friday Lights twice a week. Maybe we could potentially do it twice a week instead of once a week, because finding material can be very difficult. Can be difficult there. Phil McCracken, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. And Mark Teflar, thank you, guys. Anybody else who was lurking in the chat, good to see you all. So, guys, thank you very much for coming along. Thank you, guys, for all your comments. Thank you, Alistair Keir, for the gifted memberships. And the gang here wanted to say a massive thank you as well for coming along. Ollie the Octopus wanted to say thank you. Pingu, the communist spy. He still hasn't told me the discussion he had at Briggs with Vladimir Putin. He still won't discuss it with me. He just won't discuss it at all. And Cash Dummy, the cookie monster there lurking in the background. As this channel is powered, of course, by the almighty orb and the lava lamp that empowers us as well. So we are always empowered when they are working. So, guys, I will see you tomorrow. If I don't see you then, I just have one last thing to say. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. Be greatly appreciated. Share this across social media so others are notified of this live stream. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further and financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or you can join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.